morning, everybody. I can see somebody complaining about the intro before I've even started. Yes, I like this community. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. We've got some new artwork on the wall. I thought we'd spruce it up. We get the boss up there. We get the defensive, I don't know what you call him, the butcher. Of course you call him the butcher. The butcher and the boss up on the wall, and the king behind me. It's been a bit of a crazy few days, isn't it? Why? It's hard covering all of this. It really is exhausting, but hey, it's our football club and we'll continue to do it. Today, the transfer window opens. Officially, we're going to sign everybody right now. No, maybe not. But I think everything is still being held up by the takeover. And the beginning of the show will, of course, be around the takeover. I'm going to run through everything that's happened in the last 24 hours, which you already know about. I'll be totally honest and say there's not a major update. There's nothing new really here to talk about. The title of the show here, I call it the Eye of the Storm. And that's what it feels like. The eye of the storm doesn't mean it's passing. That means you're right in the middle of it. It feels quiet, but all the chaos is happening around you. And it feels like that's the position we are in. We're starting to hear rumors that the Glazers are threatening to stay. This is a conversation that we were having months and months and months ago. It's recycled conversations. And I don't particularly feel there is too much new to bring to you, but I'll run through all of it. Well, all of what's being said. And I will head down to the comments. I'll see who's here from the community this morning. Fred, you're there. Gungshi, you're there. Good morning to two legends at the channel. We've got Rofi. We've got DP. Save the Jungle. We've got Miles. We've got Michael T. You're there. Jonathan Rose, how you doing, buddy? Josh and Ant, you're here. Ashwin. Jedi Master. Maybe so. Oh, very nice. New Star Wars game looks good, but I don't really care about Star Wars. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. I don't know why. I just never got into it. I think it's because I didn't watch it as a kid. I watched some of them as a kid, but I don't really care about them. Anyway, Bully, Ian Cartwright, you're on Facebook, and there's plenty more of you joining in. Good morning to absolutely every single one of you. As I said, it's been covering the United. It's I try my absolute hardest not to feed hysteria, but we need to cover everything. And sometimes that you more than dip your toe into the hysteria. That live that we did the other night and the reaction to it and what's happened since is the perfect example of it. Now, I did what was it? I think it was part 11 or so. David, you're saying I find your lack of love for Star Wars disturbing. Yeah, I know. I've already got plenty of people trolling me around the takeover. I don't need to get angry Star Wars fans in the comments either, but I did just say that. I did my 11th chat, I think, with Ben Jacobs yesterday. Now, you might find those chats quite slow and cumbersome, but I really respect Ben for what he's done throughout this whole process. From day one to now, we've spoken about the facts. He's presented everything from both sides, and you might, he's sitting on the fence, blah, blah, blah. No, he's just being responsible, and it's something that we both fully agree on is that concept of rather than being first, it's better to be correct. And that's not how things exist these days. Some news is broken. Boom, you've got to be live within 5 minutes. Boom, where are you? You're late. You're a minute late. Where are you? You're late. That's the way that content goes these days. And you sometimes get caught up in the wave of it. But Ben, absolute hero for that. And it was, I tried to take the conversation forward with Ben. And I was saying, look, what's going to happen next? If you watched the interview, he's been involved as a journalist covering 18 different club takeovers, including, of course, Manchester United and, of course, Chelsea, but 18 different ones. It's almost like he knows what he's talking about. And yeah, he's an absolute legend. We're definitely going to have a bottle of champagne or something with him once this is all said and done. But it was yesterday that we covered all of that madness. If you look at the share price of Manchester United, I said that yesterday was going to be a big day because I was curious to find out whether Manchester United share price would completely fall off. It didn't. It's still around about $3 up from before that news broke. I said news. Before that whole story broke from Al Watan saying that it was done and the newspaper's taking it and going crazy. It's not crashed, which I think is a little bit interesting. I'm not looking into that too much now because I think I've covered it in as much detail as I possibly need to yesterday. But I want to have a conversation around what people are talking about. Look at this, though. This is definitely a story. Faisal Islam, who, of course, is the BBC economics editor. Look how many shares were traded yesterday. nearly 10 million shares. So nearly 1/5 of all the available shares were traded yesterday. That is huge. Now, I don't actually know what the I believe I swear he said that the standard daily trades were probably in the region of 1.4 million. So yesterday was a massive day of movement on the market. Everybody's reacting. Everybody's getting excited about the idea of Sheikh Jassim and getting in there and buying it at $22, selling it at $30. It's an easy win. Come on. There's no guarantee that Sheikh Jassim wins, even at this point. And that's the main sort of part of our conversation here this morning. As I said, is around it's the eye of the storm. One second, I've got to have a quick pause here for the main man himself, man. Gongshi. This is yours. The guy who was there right from the beginning with the OGs like Ant and Josh and T and everybody who's been here from the very beginning. It's been a long old journey up, but I can't wait until those dirty leeches are gone. But you can see what I've put it in as down there. So the Glazers' final act is damaging Manchester United. And this is exactly what is happening. Because remember what happened a few days ago, and you remember why this week felt, I suppose, a bit different. Because we had journalists that we've been following, Matt Lawton, Mike Keegan, both saying that the preferred bidder is to be named this week. And that is why this story, I believe, took off as much as it did. Because it sort of followed in line with, the preferred bidder is going to be named this week. Boom. You're getting these stories from Qatar. They haven't really been saying anything. This is it. And it's shown the dangers of being first to the news, of aggregating the news. I remember sitting there. I was sat there for about half an hour, really, watching the whole Al Watan story unfold. And I was like, should I go live? I was like, I want to let it settle for a bit. And I did a little bit of research into it. And obviously, that's when I spoke to you yesterday. Was it yesterday's stream? I spoke to you in the stream itself. And I was like, it makes no sense that it's not in the newspaper. And then The Athletic have done an article exposing all of that. And I saw that as it was happening. So it's good to see that I made the right decision to not just immediately go live, to take a look at everything. But this is why that story took off. And then we're seeing reports from yesterday from Rob Dawson and ESPN that minority investors are still in the race for Manchester United. And that just feels like a threat. That just feels like a threat. And that's what I've called it. This whole time, the Glazers have had absolutely no thoughts or cares for the future of Manchester United, for what is best for Manchester United. The only thing they've ever cared about is their own money and what is best for them, even if it's at the detriment to everybody else. They do not care about that, and they never have. And then this story was released yesterday from, there was a new journalist. Was it Mark Douglas, writing for The Independent. I'll be honest, we haven't really been covering anything that he said throughout this whole process, which naturally makes me, okay, it was a bit strange. Were you coming in now? Where have you been this whole time? I'm going to run through his article and run through the talking points and see if there are any that we need to discuss. Jonathan, you're saying, of course, they're in the race. You say, of course, they're in the race, but it still feels like a threat to me because from a business perspective, they cannot afford Manchester United. They need that investment. Now, we don't know the scale of the investment that's being offered by, who is it? Elliott Management. I think Ares, Oak Tree Capital, I think, is another one. For me, it feels like a threat. Right? And you're saying every time we thought it was close, they pull me back in. That's what it feels like. That is a meme for this whole takeover situation. Al Pacino, was it Godfather 3? I think it's Godfather 3. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Was it Silvio from Sopranos as well? Big up Sopranos. I need to watch Sopranos again. Everybody watch Sopranos? I've watched it once the whole way through at uni. I need to watch it again. It still stands as numero uno. And I'm sure there's going to be I've angered Star Wars fans, and I'm sure I've angered like the Wire fans and any other fans of what's it. I'm just coming out here swinging today. Coming out here swinging. Yeah, big up Sylvia. Big ups. I love Sopranos. Anyway, right. I want to run through this article here before we get distracted, which I do quite often because I do look at the comments. Let's see what he's saying. In Doha and Monaco, where rival bidder, of course, Sir Jim Ratcliffe resides, they are still awaiting a call from the Rain Group. That's not new. That's been covered. Well, it's been covered to death, really. And that's what we spoke about with Ben Jacobs yesterday. All of the bidders are still hopeful that period of exclusivity will finally be granted by the weekend. Exact same thing that was said, how many days ago now? 3 days ago by Matt Lawton in the Times and by Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail. We're still hopeful that it could happen. Although I'll be honest, can it not happen tonight? Because I'm going to go and see Hans Zimmer, and I can't wait. I wanted to see Hans Zimmer for a long old time. I was supposed to go to see Nas and Wu-Tang last night in the O2, but I couldn't because work was too busy and it felt like something could happen. Tonight, though, I'm going. Hopefully, Hans Zimmer plays all the bangers. Can't wait to see him. If you don't know who Hans Zimmer is, Google him. I guarantee you've listened to his music. If you like movies, anyway. This is what the article goes down to discuss as well. Independent can reveal that optimism around the Qatari bid is down to the complications of Ratcliffe's deal. Ratcliffe's offer would use loans and bonds from some of the world's biggest banks, and to fund it with a debt market a nightmare is a far from straightforward process. And that is a far from new piece of information. Now, I know that there are a lot of fans that are going to try and throw me under the bus and call me a hypocrite and everything, but the biggest problem for me with the Ratcliffe and Ineos bid isn't the concept of keeping the Glazers in a minority investment situation. I've told you exactly why. Like, if I was to survey 1,000 United fans and ask them who Lindsay train are, I reckon 5% might be able to tell me, maybe even that. They own 20% of the club, but they have zero control and zero influence on what goes on. The thing that I find more worrying about the Ratcliffe takeover is this. This has always been the part for me that concerns me most. The debt, the structure of the takeover, how he would finance it, because we know full well that he's agreed partnerships, I believe, with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. I think that's where the loans and the bonds are going to be coming from. And we don't know the structure of those, we don't know the interest rates of those. Of course, they're going to be going onto the Ineos books, but still, that whole thing is, that's for me has always been where the alarm bells have been. The red flags has more been around where the money's coming from and how much there will be, rather than that Glazers as minority investors, because they wouldn't be owners at that point. And that's my personal take. And I know that not everyone's going to agree with that, but I think I've always maintained that since pretty much day one. It's the debt and the numbers for me are the most crucial element of everything. And of course, when it comes to these debts, these loans, these bonds, yeah, there are red flags. And if you're looking at was it the collapse of the Credit Suisse bank, which I think it was a massive bank. There was huge. Remember that at that point they were saying that could be affecting the Qatari bid because Sheikh Jassim, and I think the Qatari Islamic Bank, they were involved as heavy investors in that, if I'm correct. The whole debt market's screwed. Like, I'm not sure if anybody's had to renew mortgages in the UK at any point. I'm having to do mine. I think my mortgage is going up like, it's like 110% on what it was 2 years ago. And I'm being legitimate here. It is screwed. The debt market, getting a loan, getting a mortgage, getting a bond, is so much more expensive than it was before. Now, I'm sure that there are different rates for businesses, but it's a worrying market. And that's always been the biggest red flag for me. So this is nothing new. This is not a new conversation that needed to be had. Again, it's always been there. That's why I think so anyway. Go down here. We'll see what you're saying in the comments. Make sure I don't miss anything. 1 second here. Refresh that. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that, man. Siam, you're a hero, man. Legend. Absolutely. I need more words. If anybody watches Beard Meets Food, big up Beard Meets Food. Just watch it. This dude who just eats a lot. He's very good at it. He always calls things delicious. I always call people legends. I need more words than legends. But yeah, Siam, man. Thank you very much, dude. Let me go and there's more to read in this, and there's so much to cover, by the way, because today the transfer market opens. Give me another couple minutes of your time. We'll stop talking about the takeover. We'll talk about Kane. I'm gonna have a conversation about Mbappe. Right, putting his name on that board there was one of the most predictable things in the entire world. And what happened the next day? Who? Of course, Mbappe was linked to Manchester United. We'll run through that in a minute. Rain and the Glazers have tried to inject jeopardy into this process from day one in an effort to raise the offers on the table. At this point, that tactic is no longer successful, and it's time to make a decision because, as we've seen, without one, there's a vacuum that is filled by unhelpful speculation. And I'll be honest, like, this article, no offense to Mark Douglas there, but didn't really add much. It didn't really add anything into what it is. And that's why I called it the eye of the storm. Because at this point, nothing else can be said. Nothing else can be done. No more bids will come in. Of course, bids can be pulled out. The Glazer could. It feels like we're in the eye of the storm. There is nowhere else to turn. We're just surrounded by a hurricane. We don't know which direction we're going to be going in, but it will be happening. And that's why I've called it the eye of the storm. So it's not, I try my hardest not to feed hysteria. Sometimes it's impossible because I get swept up in it. We all do. We're United fans. We give a toss about the club. But this feels like the end game. And let's just hope. Hope. Still, that Matt Lawton and Mike Keegan were correct and that the preferred bidder still will be coming this week. Let me go down here. Before we move on, Sam, I'm confused. Does Jim Ratcliffe's bid count as majority investment since the Glazers are staying? What is the difference between minority and majority? I think it's a really good question there, Cameron. Yes, it would still count as majority investment. Simple terms, majority investment, somebody who has a controlling stake of the club, right? So if you have 51%, it doesn't matter who else owns the other 49%. You've got complete control over decisions. You own 51%. That's a majority investment. Now, if you were to split the ownerships down and one person had 40%, one person had 20, one person had 20, that's not a majority investment because, well, of course, it's only 80%, but you get what I mean. It's bad maths. If one person had 50% and two people had 25%, that's not majority investment because those two minorities could link up and become 50. It's all to do with the percentages. It's all to do about control of decisions. Of course, ideally, there'd be 0% involved at the Glazers, and that's exactly how we all feel. But yeah, I've made that a clear since day one, and that's just my take on it. I'm more worried about the debt market and the structure of the finance behind the Ineos bid than I am of the idea that the Glazers could stay on as minority investors, just like Lindsay Train Limited, a 20% owner of Manchester United who has done nothing because nobody knows who they are, because they have no control over any decisions, no matter how many shares they hold. Right. Let's go. And let's move on. And I think we've had this conversation before, but I thought it would be the interesting poll that I wanted to put up today, right? If Manchester United, okay, who's that just joined as a member? We've got Jonathan Aiden. How you doing? Oh, team captain. What a ledge. Nice to see you joining there, Jonathan. There you go. Oh, look, you left a comment too. Let me read this bad boy out. Where is it gone? It's not on my screen anymore. Let me read it out here. Sorry, Jonathan, I can't put it up there. You're saying, finally joined as a member. Glazers need to be gone now. Oh, mate, well, you're not wrong there. Jeez. But look, this is the thing I want to talk about. Let's move on to transfers. The market is open today. Of course, we're still waiting for the takers to take over, for the Glazers and the takeover to be done before I believe we can actually start putting bids down. Because, hey, look, Mason Mount's sitting in that moving. He's been there for like 2 weeks now. And we still haven't put the bid in. Still have not put the bid in. But look, I want to put this down here. If we can't get Kane, who is your choice? Right? And there are 4 choices here. I've only got 2 on screen at the moment. we put all 4 on the poll. Then we can start the second part of the show where we talk about transfers, all right? Because I know transfers are the thing I want to get excited about. That's the fun part of the summer. I wouldn't say particularly that this takeover situation has been that fun. Certainly not the way it's dragged out. Anyway, sod the takeover. Let's talk about transfers for a little bit. Gonzalo Ramos, we've got Randall, Kolo Muani. We've got 2 down here as well. We've got Rasmus Højlund and we've got Victor Osimhen. All right. They are the 4, I suppose. There are other choices we can throw into it. Marcus Thuram, for example, that's a free transfer that I think, regardless of what we do with anything of these 4 strikers, we need to be getting Marcus Thuram. It feels like, they say it's a no-brainer. That one genuinely is a no-brainer. Really, really is. But Højlund, Osimhen, Ramos, or Muani, who would be your choice? I know, John, you're saying it's difficult to choose from, but I've got to make a choice. We've got to make a choice. The only player that we've had any sort of movement-ish on this summer is Mason Mount. And it's still in that same situation, right? Chelsea they've priced Kai Havertz out of a move to Real Madrid because they want 70 mil for him. And they're like, okay, see ya. So either they're going to lower that price for Havertz, but I think that whole Mbappe situation has put any sort of stop to Kai Havertz to Real Madrid anyway. United, with Mason Mount, at this moment in time, we're nowhere near the valuation. I want Man United to scrap any move for Mason Mount and also scrap any move for Harry Kane if the numbers don't match up. This summer is the summer where I personally am prepared as a fan for United to miss out on our top targets if it means that we draw a line in the sand and clubs from this summer onwards can't just look at United and just add 10, 20 million on top. Because we have to, at some point, probably miss out on our top target because we're staying firm. Maybe not even top targets, just targets in general. Because last summer we didn't. Desperation came out. Anthony overpaid. Casemiro, I would say it feels like 70 million for the age that Casemiro was still an overpayment. Given how good he is, it's not really been an overpayment. Martinez at the time was an overpayment because it was a very good job that we signed him. It wasn't an overpayment, but this is the summer where I personally am prepared for United to miss out on whether it's Harry Kane, whether it is Mason Mount, whether it's anybody else, if the numbers don't match up. But Harry Kane, let's run through what is being said around him. Before Kylian Mbappe suddenly became available from PSG, Kane seemed a natural successor to Benzema. Their interest might strangely have suited Spurs. We know that. The England captain could be back to square one, however, as Manchester United are unlikely to become embroiled in a battle for his signature. And Dan Kilpatrick, I used to work with Daniel. I believe, if I remember correctly anyway, me and Dan did an internship once at some place. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in London. I need to reach out to him because I'm pretty sure it's the same dude. Anyway, he's now the chief writer for Spurs, I believe, for the Evening Standard. He's saying that Madrid are expected to explore that move for Mbappe. And yes, we're going to speak about Mbappe next, which could effectively end their interest in Harry Kane. But Spurs insist he's not going to be sold to a Premier League rival. You've got quite a similar situation going on with, well, not completely the same, but quite a similar situation going on with Kane and Mbappe, who we will speak about now. All right. Not going to ignore the elephant in the room, but it is a red herring if you've ever seen one, in my opinion, anyway. PSG don't want to lose him for free, so they're going to sell him this summer. Spurs don't want to lose Harry Kane for free next summer, so it feels like they kind of have to sell him this summer, but they also don't want to sell to a Premier League club. It's just like, what's more important to you? Not losing Harry Kane for free or not selling Harry Kane to a Premier League rival? We don't know which of those is more important to Daniel Levy. On the surface, it looks kind of easy. Well, of course, they don't want to lose Harry Kane for free. Would probably go down as their record sale. Most expensive ever player they've sold. The idea of him going for free seems unlikely. But we don't know how stubborn Daniel Levy... I'm like, that's a lie. We do know how stubborn Daniel Levy is. So I want United to make their mind up on Kane soon. And if it's not Kane, hey, if it's not Kane, I think we're going to be compromising. Kane is the best that we could go for in that position, personally. But it's not to say that any of these would be bad strikers. It's just I think he would be the absolute best. But here we are having a conversation about Kylian Mbappe. My word. This felt absolutely inevitable, right? You've got Fabrizio Romano here sort of explaining what the situation is. Mbappe is denying plans to join Real Madrid this summer, but it's obvious there's two choices. You either leave this summer or you sign a new deal. They're the only two options that Mbappe has at PSG. The PSG are pissed off at the situation. I'm happy with that. It could be that PSG finally pull the plug on a really extended failure in becoming the Galacticos. It could be that Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe all leave that club in the same summer. And the Mbappe situation, as I said, mate, linking Mbappe to Manchester United is, I don't know, it's the easiest thing that could possibly have been done. What is it? But I mean, Mbappe's created this situation. I'll be totally honest. These stories wouldn't exist if Mbappe didn't send that letter to PSG saying, look, I'm not going to sign my extension. I'm going to be leaving for free next summer. This is all as a consequence of that. But Mbappe, I've done a short video that's going to be going out on it today. And I'll be honest, my lunchtime video today is a 10-minute video about Mbappe. Because I want to use it as serving as a warning right now on the first day of the window. Prepare yourselves for what's coming. Do not get sucked into it because it just does not. It cannot. It cannot work at Manchester United, financially anyway. Declan saying, failed. How many leagues did they win? How many Champions Leagues did they win? It wasn't hard for a French team to be bought by a state and to then dominate said domestic league. But they have failed every single time in the Champions League. So ultimately, it will go down as it's a success compared to where PSG were before Qatar bought them, but a failure compared to the expectations of how much money has been put into that club. I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying about Mbappe. Would you welcome the idea of Mbappe and Rashford swap deal plus 60 mil? Honestly, it doesn't really matter which way you sort of frame it, shape it. 150. We haven't got the finance for it. We do not have and that's why I think my video now more than ever on FFP is probably needed. So I'm going to try and do my video today on the Mbappe situation, and if I can get all the research finished, I'm going to do that video on FFP tomorrow to really show you from a numbers and facts perspective why Mbappe ain't happening. And the Qataris taking over Manchester United does not change that. And by the way, to the question of should we sell Marcus Rashford, I was not part of the Rashford out gang that existed last season. And I'm certainly not going to join in that gang this season. Marcus Rashford's just scored 30 goals for Manchester United. 30. And he had and I'll be honest, in the last 6 weeks of the season, he really went off the boil. Remember, we were having conversations about how many goals we thought he'd end the season on. I think we all sort of agreed somewhere between 35 and 40. He did fade away, but Rashford's just scored 30, man. Hell no. I want Rashford. You might say, oh, so you met. I don't care. I don't care. That's my opinion. I'm allowed my opinion. You can disagree. Abby, nice to see you there on Ineos. Remember, dude. What else got to say? What else has been said down here in the comments? Oh, Ray, you absolute hero. Ray's been here for a long time, man. Just gifted 5 memberships for everyone. Jeez. I need to sort. I keep saying, I'm sorting the software. I'm trying to sort the software. It's just, maybe I'll ask for another shout out one more time. If there's any, and I'm talking like Streamlabs expert, because I've hired a couple of freelancers and they've just not done the job properly. I need somebody to be able to come in and help me and test it because there's a lot going on. And I haven't got to, because I'm doing content so much that I don't have a few hours to do that. I'm trying to go and see Hans Zimmer as well. But look, Mbappe, I'm going to do my lunchtime video on Mbappe today because I'm doing it right now at the beginning before it turns into any sort of circus as a warning. That's why that video will exist. Of course, there's plenty of other players that we're linked with. Hey, look, I've even updated the number. We're on 60 so far on that board. I apologize if you can't see all the names on it, but it's almost like I've had to write them really small because there's so many players linked with. But 60 names on that list, and I'm sure there will be more. Look, Rasmus Højlund, this has been going on. I would say Højlund and the Mount situations have probably both been going on pretty similar amounts of time. Mason Mount's moved a bit further, and that's because I believe the Højlund situation is kind of tied up into the Harry Kane situation, and we don't particularly know what's going on with that. So I think Manchester United are sort of not hedging their bets, but doing what we should be doing. We should be looking at alternatives. Because imagine we weren't looking at alternatives. Harry Kane situation didn't work out. We go, crap. Right, where do we go now? What do we do next? It's not the right thing to do. Jonathan, you're saying what did Szczesny? Nah, he didn't get linked, did he? I don't know. Danny, you're saying you'll be adding a few more zeros behind that 60. You probably will. You probably will. Cedric, you're saying the only reason Rashford went off the boil because he has been injured since the first half of the City game. Look, yeah, he did go off the boil, but Rashford had an insane season. He got named Players Player of the Year and Fans Player of the Year. I'll be honest, like me going back now, I think I got swept up in Casemiro hype. I really should have chosen Rashford as my player of the season, man. Dude scored 30 goals. Was that the first player since Van Persie scored 30 goals, and I didn't give him my player of the season? I think I did myself a bit of a misjustice there. Misjustice? It's not a word. I did hit. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. But look, let's move on to definitely a conversation that I don't personally feel we should be having this summer, right? Let's have a look at the poll and let's see where we're at on the results. We've got 4 strikers here. Let me see which one you would prefer. So we've got Ramos, we've got Mwani, we've got Højlund, and we've got Osimhen. Let me see who you're choosing as the alternative. As it stands, nearly 1,200 votes in, and Højlund is number 1. Look at that. Osimhen is number 2 with 35%. That's a big old shift and a big old change. Remember that at the start of the summer, when asking about what striker you think we should be going for, it was Osimhen. Osimhen was like way, way ahead of Harry Kane. And maybe it's just people who just felt, okay, right, well, Osimhen's not going to happen because of the money. And if you think we can't afford Osimhen, you wait till you hear the figures involved with Mbappe. Yeah, and then you realize, man, that's just a waste of our time. That's a waste of our energy. Bieber, how you doing, buddy? Barca wants Ruben Neves, but Xavi isn't keen. Would you sign him on a free? Ruben Neves isn't available on a free, is he? I swear, if Ruben Neves was a free transfer, I think I'd know about it. Well, I might not, but it feels like I'd know about it. Contract expires next summer. Right, okay. If not Kane, which 2 strikers would you sign? Man United should be signing Thuram for sure as the number 1. And maybe Højlund would be that guy. Of course, it's a massive risk. It is a risk. He's 20 years old. He's developing. He could be a star. But that's not really what we need next season. We need a star. We need goal scorers. As I said, this Jadon Sancho situation, this is coming from the Times. Let me run through this, right? Look, Sancho's sent on an individual training program. Tottenham may be interested in the England winger. It's really tentative from the Times, and it's been taken by aggregators as sort of like, oh, here we go. Tottenham want Sancho. It's a really loose connection. And I'll be totally honest, I think Sancho strikes me as a player that if we were to let him leave this summer, that would be a player that we would go on to regret letting leave. I think Sancho absolutely should be staying here for 1 more season. Just my personal opinion. But at the same time, I know it's a risk. I just feel like Sancho's worth that risk. I think even if you were to look at the numbers, I think he contributed to a goal every 1 in 2 games. And let's be honest, he's not really played that well. Like, he's dropped in and out of games so often. You're like, what? Where are you? Where is that Dortmund Sancho? But I feel Sancho's worth that risk for 1 more season. And I think we have... Hey, look, maybe if somebody comes in with a big bid for Jadon Sancho, then the conversation might change and we could reinvest that. And I could be happy with that concept of Sancho leaving for a big bid and us just reinvesting that money in a player that really sits and fits the profile. That I can understand. But for me personally, I think that Sancho one will be where we go, oh, man, shouldn't have sold him. I think he gets one more season. Let me see what you're saying. Apparently, PSG and Napoli linked with Sancho. Well, we've got Spurs down here. I'm sure there are others too. Let's have a look for saying that. Look, Thomas, look, long time watching on Facebook. Now you're on YouTube. Yeah, I apologize to everyone on watching on Facebook. There's so much less ability from an interactive perspective. You can't get involved in the polls and stuff like that. Hey, go and have a go at Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook is bad for creators. I don't know why it is. It really is by comparison of YouTube. I don't know. Let's see. I think with Sancho, my opinion of him, it wouldn't flip-flop. It wouldn't change. My opinion of whether we keep him or not might change if a really big bid comes in and Man United were to reinvest that money. But of course, that's no guarantee either. Maybe if we've got new owners, it would be, but not under the Glazers. Now, this is a player who, mate, if you've been following the Italian press, we've signed him like 6 times already. Min-Jae definitely joining, 100% joining. He's already agreed terms. They've already agreed the fee. We know what the fee is. £47.5 million. That was known ages ago. The Kim situation, I'm pretty confident about it, but at the same time, Man United are leaving others open, leaving the door open for others to come in with a bigger bid, coming in and paying a little bit over the release clause and getting your man. I think Fabrizio Romano was speaking about it, saying, look, nothing's finished yet. And I mean, nothing has been finished on this, Kim. I would love to be coming here saying he's going to be one of our signings. And I really do genuinely think he could be a pretty important signing. Because I've already explained it. I haven't done that video yet on the way I see Ten Hag's first season Manchester United tactically tweaking into a V2 for next season. There will be minor tweaks. I've told you about that. Switching to 2 number 8s and 1 number 6 rather than 2 central midfielders. Don't really know what numbers they would be. No number, really. With 1 number 10. I think that's happening. But Kim, I would love that to be done right now, but it's not done just yet. And curiously enough, we're seeing this from Sam Dean in the Telegraph. Manchester United remain in the hunt for David Raya. Now, you know full well the criticism that I've come under this season for criticizing 2 players, mainly Cristiano Ronaldo and dealing with that, and that was painful, really was, and criticizing David De Gea. 2 players who I've been openly criticized and got absolutely slammed for doing so. This De Gea situation for me has kind of gone past the point of no return. I don't think at any point now that De Gea is going to be our number 1 and the top level goalkeeper again. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper. As a number 2, maybe he could do a job, but I looked at City and Ortega in that FA Cup final thing, and that's your number 2 goalkeeper, and you're playing like that. I've looked at Onana in the Champions League final against City. I'm like, man, that guy can play through the press. But Spurs, was it last week or this week? One of the 2. Fabrizio Romano said that Spurs are moving for him, but they don't want to pay the 40 mil. I think David Raya, he's not the perfect solution. There are not flaws in his game, but short passing under pressure is not. There are quite a few examples of him failing at that at Brentford this season. Something he's very good at is his mid-range passing, kicks from the hand, quick on the counter-attack. That's where he really flourishes. He's a good shot stopper. He's a good aerial box commander. There are elements of his game that he needs to improve, sure. I think Diogo Costa would be a more of a sure thing than David Raya. But apparently United is still in the hunt for him, and we should be in the hunt for a goalkeeper, man. I've made it so clear that for me, that is the second most important signing that we could make this summer is a new goalkeeper. I've felt that for some time now, and that's where I stand on it. A player who's on the board there, where is he? What's his name? Felix Nemetcha. He's not coming to Manchester United. Well, it looks like Newcastle are moving after him. Kind of a low price squad improving player who could be one of those players if you scout it properly. It could be an incredible signing. Wow, look how cheap that player was. It goes to show you can get value in the market. Maybe he's going to be one of those, but he won't be to Manchester United. SS, you're talking about Pickford. Mate, that Pickford, I mean, come on. Pickford is firmly in the same category as Hugo Lloris. There's two talented goalkeepers, but two goalkeepers I would not touch with a barge pole at Man United. They are not the sort of keeper I want. What are you saying down here? What show to listen to while I sort my tax return? Oh, no one likes tax returns. Tax returns, mortgages. Yeah, nice cheery conversation. But yeah, we're not going to be signing Felix Nemecha. Let me go back to the poll. Let me see what we're all saying down here. It's taken me 40 minutes to ask this again. Ladies and gents, can you please take 1 second? If you drop a like on the video, it does make a big, big difference. If you haven't already entered the raffle, I'll leave the link in the description now. The raffle, the prize this month is an absolute scorcher. 4K 50-inch Samsung TV and a Bose soundbar. It is top tier, absolutely top tier. Get it in time for the 7 preseason games we've got. 7 preseason games. Like, come on, man. Give us a little break this summer. I was looking forward to a bit of sunshine. Never mind. Absolutely never mind. Apparently, I've missed a couple of super chats. Have a look here. Stuart, how you doing, buddy? Mbappe on loan and buy next season like PSG did. Dude, like, I'll leave any more Mbappe conversation for that video. It's going out at lunchtime today. I'm going to cover every single angle to do with Mbappe because I know he would be an incredible signing, but it just doesn't match up. It doesn't. Siam, what are you saying, buddy? If Spurs want Sancho, trade him up for Kane. Levy would surely be happy. That's a conversation that could be had, I suppose. I mean, of course, Sancho's not a replacement for Kane. And would he fit the Postecoglou's style of play? I haven't watched enough of Celtic and Postecoglou to understand that. But Sancho's a good player, man. There's definitely more to come out of him there. But let's have a quick look at this poll before we wrap up. Last couple of minutes of the show, ladies and gents, you know what to do. Anybody got any questions, fire them in. I will try and answer as many as I possibly can. It can be about anything, not just about United. We've got 1,700 votes and only 540 of you like the video. Come on. But 45% of you, you've gone for Højlund and 35% of you have gone for Osimhen. And I think that's a pretty reasonable poll. Pardon me. I think a lot of people are looking at Højlund, and not just the fact that his name's similar, but you're looking at Haaland, you're looking at the physical specimen of him, you're looking at how much that's added to that City team, and you're thinking, you know what, Højlund could be that guy for us. And he could be. Hey, mate, he could be. But at 20, there ain't no way he's coming into Manchester United and scoring 52 goals in a season. If he was to come to United and he scored 20 goals, I think that would be a fantastic first season for him. But he's going to be someone who is realistically a couple of years at least away from the peak of his powers. And I mean, I think Haaland's I think I've said this for quite a while now. Young footballers are sort of bucking the trend. Football they are such athletes now. They're all shredded. They all can sprint at like 30 kilometers an hour. They all can run forward. They can defend. They're just all round supreme athletes. Not all of them, of course, but the best ones are. So the idea that players get to their peak at like 26, 27, I don't know whether that's the truth anymore. I mean, if Haaland's 5 years off his peak, then we're all screwed. All right? Then we're all absolutely screwed. Of course, Messi scored, 90-something goals in a Canada year before? So Haaland's still got 40 to get on him. But Højlund and Thuram, I don't know whether it will be enough, but I think I'd be happy. I think I'd be happy with that as Manchester United striking signings. Only if we absolutely, there's so much to get done this summer. I told you what I think about a goalkeeper. I think that's that right centre back such as Kim, who can play a little bit more athletically, a little bit more aggressively on a more consistent basis, plays that higher line, negates the need as much for a deeper line playmaker because your two centre backs are then playing out from the back with the ball, as is your new goalkeeper. Will make a big, big difference in the same way that a deeper line playmaker like De Jong would have made that big, big difference. What are you saying down here? How much would it be for both of them? What, for Højlund and Osimhen? Jeez. I don't know. Best part of 200 mil, which is nay going to happen. Martin, how you doing, buddy? Thank you very much, Super Chat. He's saying, well, when we know something about the takeover, would the shares be suspended and then the announcement would come after that? It should be the other way around. Of course, that's what good journalists do, right? Good journalists get in there and they find their sources and they find leaks. And they get information before announcements are made. But Man United, when it comes to when that decision is actually made, have got to make an announcement to the Security Commission, I believe, and they're involved with the New York Stock Exchange, because that has to be announced because it will affect the share price. They can't just keep that information to themselves and go, all right, let's see what goes on. What else are we saying down here in the comments? Haaland is an overall good player. And mate, Haaland's just... Everybody wanted Haaland to fail, but what a player. Bastard. What an absolute player. Grim. Grim. Stephanie, you're saying Osimhen's too much money. Yeah, they are. They really, really are. And we can't afford him. Napoli are doing exactly... I've compared it to what Dortmund did with Sancho that season. They didn't want to sell him. Just slapped an outrageous price on him, and he left the year after. Next summer, somebody will sign Victor Osimhen for in the region of 75 to 85 million pounds. There's your prediction from me. Foxy saying, why are we so slow in the transfer market? I honestly have no idea why things might be getting held up this summer. I've got absolutely no idea. Garlic Bread Man, how you doing, buddy? Given the amount of community memberships this community gives out, we could have bought United much quicker than it, mate. You're probably right. And secretly, I've put in a bid to buy Manchester United. United People's TV is one of these minority investors, and I can happily announce here now, live and direct, that I'm actually going to be the owner of Manchester United. Yeah, I'll be a good owner. I'll be a pretty skint owner. Right, so we can go and sign Thuram. He's free. Not sure how we're paying his wage, but we'll go and sign Thuram. He's free. Who else is free? Anybody else? Anybody else free? Look. We'll find out. Let's find out what's going on. Hopefully by the end of this week. Let's let the final comment there on the takeover is, look, please be right, Matt. Please be right, Mike Keegan, as well, that this week is when we get that. We find it out. We finally get that. Because I'm tired. But look, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, the best community in the world. You really, really are. We've got the boss and we've got the butcher and the king. The boss, the butcher, and the king. Sounds like a really bad kid story. I'm not sure they'd enjoy that one. But look, big up to everybody. I'll be back here today. I'm doing my lunchtime video on Mbappe. I want to do one video that I can then go back to and say, look, you want to know my opinion on Mbappe? This is the video you need to go to because it's going to be a circus. Prepare yourself for it. But I want to speak about the unrealistic nature of it, even if we get Qatari new owners. Have a great day. Go and enjoy the sun. I'll see you soon.